How you doing? You're down in Florida now, you said?
Am.
All right. How is it? I saw in the weather it wasn't all that much warmer.
I know it was coming down was like cold, and then it was still cold, and then it was still cold, and it was still cold, and
Look, I'm
I
supposed to
have
be
this.
going south here, aren't I?
Yeah, I have this tendency to not stop when it's cold, and I'm like heading south. So I drove 24 hours, 1,400 miles, and got here.
Okay.
And
Would you take 20-minute power naps when you're charging or what?
I when I stop to charge, I get out and I stretch.
Mm,
And that
I
way,
know.
when you're in the car for that length of time, you're not a cripple.
Yeah.
Um,
All right.
I don't know. My brother-in-law did it last year, and I'm like, well, if he can do it, I probably can do it too. So,
Okay.
so I left Tuesday at 9 and got here at Wednesday at 9, and just sort of getting my bearings about me. Uh,
Okay.
Met some folks that live here, and they're very nice. So I'm making friends already, which is fun.
Okay. All right. Good.
Um, so it'll be nice because the weather's been short sleeve, long pants,
Okay. All right.
and guess I'll go over and look at the Cybertruck today because I think they have one in Tampa.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
That'd be fun to actually just see one in person. Do they have you can test drive them?
I don't know when test drives open up soon. I
Okay.
think.
All right.
Um,
Interesting. Especially with the rear wheel steering. I mean, I know other vehicles have it, but I've
yeah,
never
right.
never tried it, right?
I'm excited. I'm excited, and I'm not all that happy about the pricing. It's not even close to what they projected. But Elon and his pricing, this car is going to be $35,000.
Well, yeah, I haven't heard, but I assume he's anchoring high, and at some point later he can lower.
Yeah. So the full Zoot car um, is 100 grand.
Oh, all right.
So it's a fair amount. I mean, if he hadn't projected a smaller number in 19, um, it would be probably not such a shock.
Right, right. Yeah, but that was 4 years ago. So
Yeah, yeah. And the other one is the non 2.5 second car, the 4 second car uh, is 79,
all right, that's similar to the F-150, right? In that
and qualifies
ballpark.
for the tax credit. Um, and apparently they've got a um, accessory battery pack that'll get you to 460 miles, but the car itself has a 340-mile pack.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I assume, yeah, you can put anything in the bed, right? So I guess you could
Right.
put you see pickup trucks all the time with the toolbox in the bed. Why not put a
Put the
battery pack in
accessory battery in the bed. Yeah.
it?
So, you know, the totally expensive one was supposed to be a 500-mile truck.
Okay. All right.
And
Yeah, 340. I mean, that's the nominal range of the F-150 is 310 or something like that. So that's the extended range.
I mean, it's perfectly fine if you don't want to tow,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
but doesn't work for towing.
Nope. Yeah. Yeah, it's like half that or something, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so you sort of have to have a 500-mile truck if you're thinking that you might want to tow a camper or a boat or something.
Right.
And they don't have pull-through stations. All this stuff's early, so that's probably a good way anyway. Because how many people are really going to want to tow?
Yeah. How do you right? Hooking up to the charging stations with a camper is a little difficult.
You like anybody that wants to tow. What they're saying is basically, so for the small number of you that fit this tiny slice where you're going to use it as a work vehicle, but still bring it home and charge it every night. Um, here's this option for $16,000 for a big battery pack.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, that's why Ford they didn't electrify like the Super Duty ones, the 250 and the 350 and things like that, because those are usually the ones that are pushing plows or towing all the time, towing lawn equipment or whatever all the time, right? So
Right.
they left those as gas for now. Yep.
I suppose this battery pack. So somebody who buys a truck and finds it doesn't have enough, then you get the battery pack.
Yeah. At least you can add it later, right? It's not like picking the standard range, extended range. It's kind of a locked in choice. At least you can add more. So
right.
Anyway, fun to see it.
Yeah, fun to see it. So I had a 3-hour, I told you about the 3-hour talk with Jason. I had another nice long talk with him yesterday. He's moving along. And if he ends up being a source for salesperson 1, because he has all of these different people that he has relationships with,
right?
Maybe we can start.
Yeah.
I was unable to. So the other thing is this Kajabi thing has me confused as anything. Apparently, you have to. So Nate has onboarding for free quote. And then he has 2 onboardings for Comfort Consult. One's the free version, and the free version leads into the paid version.
Okay. Yeah, so a 101 free quote, a 201 Comfort Consult, and a 301 Comfort Consult paid.
Right.
Okay.
And I didn't fully grasp it, and I don't really understand how to work my way around Kajabi, but I was able to find that. And before, I think he had the beginning intro part someplace else. It was in another one of those apps.
Okay.
And he transitioned it.
Okay. I did take a quick look at the onboarding, the free quote one, but yeah, I mean, that's our training curriculum, right? I think that works pretty well.
I think it's great. There are 2 videos that are the same, which make me wonder if there was a video that he didn't put in by accident.
Oh, okay. I didn't actually watch all of them. I looked at the table of contents.
Okay.
Well, so one of them must not match the table of contents then if he's got 2 of the same videos.
I'm not able to really connect the table of contents to the video. When I watched them, I just they're all
went through in order. Okay.
I'll
take a closer look. I had seen it and I went and looked at it and thought this is going to be really nice. And then I haven't actually.
The first ones, particularly the first videos, are very short. They're 5 minutes each.
Yeah.
And I think you can speed them up. I can't remember. Lizzie and I went through the whole thing one night.
Okay. All right. What'd she think?
She thought it was great.
Okay, good. All right.
I think the only thing that's missing is sort of a walkthrough of delivering the report.
Oh, it kind of ends with, here's your PDF. Well, because there were some people that had requested in Slack somewhere, right? I can't send it through the application. It's like, no, it's not actually designed to do that yet, right? So
I think what you want to do is you want to print. There needs to be a video that shows you, okay, so now you've got everything filled out.
Actually, the time to do that will be when we get the email integration working, which is a 1.1 thing. Because then we can have templates, and that way you can show this is how, right? This is the delivery process of the report, and here's a template that already does it for you, and this is how, right? Because it's going to be a little bit of a weird concept because it's your email to make it a high probability of delivery, but if the template comes from the system, so that will definitely need a new video once that feature is available. So maybe it's okay.
That's probably why I was holding off.
Yeah, it ends at the report, and then the next video, once we have it, will be, and this is how you deliver it, right? Using this template, here's how you customize the template. Here's how it works with your email, right? So, yeah, that's a few months away. I think we wanted to do the likely load range stuff first before the email, but email is probably a quicker thing. So I guess it depends on how we want to prioritize it too.
I'd like to get the likely load range thing done.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
I think
email.
that's kind of like the first main thing of 1.1, and we're it looks like Kaloy didn't quite finish the drag and drop. There's a video in Trello if you want to take a look at the drag and drop for the equipment and install tables, because that cleans up a lot of the low cost, high cost, and things like that. Actually, give me 1 second. I have to go. So yeah, I think likely load range will be next. You can take a look in Trello at a video of drag and drop. It's like the last thing that we added to 1.0.
Okay.
There's a couple bug fixes ready to release.
Okay. I'm being very explicit with people about my next goal. I'm using that to explain to them that they are going to be the guinea pigs until we reach the point where we can afford to hire one. And I'm putting these new guys in. So the whole thing, it's interesting. We brought this to a stop, and now we're trying to start it up again. And I'm like, oh, there are all these things that we did to make it hard for people to get in that are now hard to undo.
Right.
And like we had this sort of thing clicking along where somebody showed some interest, and we're like, well, here, and then do this, and this, and then get in touch with us again. So that muscle is atrophied, and I'm trying to reawaken it.
Right.
And it's interesting, like we got 2 Jasons last week, and both of them have blower doors. So still not salespeople, but that one Jason, he knows a lot of salespeople, and the company that he's with seems like they're interested in having a process.
Yeah, and like you said, that used to be a kind of a requirement. Now it's it doesn't preclude them from doing free quotes, right? It just enables them to, if somebody actually buys a comfort console, right, or whatever, enables them to do that. Now,
well, except the problem is they're not likely. Anybody that has a blower door is pretty motivated.
Yeah.
And we're looking for the unmotivated.
Right.
And it turns out that is the target market, because it's like 90% of HVAC salespeople. And if we want to continue to go after the 2 or the 3%, we can keep going. But there's a lot. It's even a big lift for them though, because they still have to do the full Sandler and learn the software and learn the report and learn delivery. And like, I think focusing on the entry of the free quote, because the free quote is and continues to get astonishingly easier, doesn't require a mindset shift, because that's a level up thing.
Right. Yeah. Right. It gets us out of the fringe, like you said, the fringe 2% and up and to the 90% of the population. So
yeah. So on the other hand,
having a blower door doesn't make them automatically part of that fringe, right? It just puts them in the early adopter or whatever, some element.
So the good thing about these guys is we get to see what it looks like having smarter guys start from the beginning.
Yeah.
And see if it requires less hand holding. So, and I got to get used to jumping into Trello, which I'll do. Because stuff's going to become apparent to me. The thing is that Trello is sort of organized the way Nate thinks, I think. But you're using it too. So if I do things in the wrong, so keep an eye on anything that I do.
Okay.
Because you may want, well, it doesn't really belong there. It belongs over here.
Yeah, it's fine. I think I get notified every time something new is added. So I'd see what you added or what you changed.
Okay. Any thoughts?
No, no.
Okay.
I guess that maybe that's something that prioritizing likely load range next. Is that the right thing? So I guess maybe as you're starting to exercise those muscles again about getting new users in, we may find likely load range is again a little bit of a complicated concept, right? And so is there something else? I guess
Jeff
basically
used it.
if you come across something that sounds like maybe this would really help, we should think about where it fits in 1.1 between likely load range, the email integration, and whatever else you come up with that we might need to shift, what get released when.
So Jeff used it. And the homeowner said, well, my current equipment doesn't fall anywhere within this range. And Jeff said, no, it doesn't. She said, well, it probably should. And Jeff said, if you'd like it to.
Man, he's good.
I'm happy to do whatever. Like, you've been offered a comfort consult and declined. And particularly if she was offered like static pressure test and declined, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
And she said, well, I probably should get on the high side of the likely load range. And the answer to that is, well, maybe you should get on the low side of the likely load range. It's a pretty new house. Maybe the house is good. Is it a good house? And so maybe we need to articulate goodness to badness within likely load range.
Yeah, but see that, I guess that's why I'm thinking, is that again, out of the 90% of the HVAC sales population that needs free quote, they'll likely need the email integration. Likely load range is now going down to maybe 10, 20%, or right? Is it again narrowing our scope? Useful tool for Jeff, sure, right? But he again, right? He just listening to that, your characterization of the interaction, right? He's
right. That's mindset.
Black belt master, right? Yes. Yeah, should. Yeah. So again, right? I don't know what else might also need to be part of 1.1, but I guess it's good, like you said, right? Restart this process of how do we get more people using it? How do we get more people basically into the funnel? And where we previously set up barriers, waiting rooms, barriers to slow down the funnel, we need to start removing those barriers now, right? And are there some things that then would either help that process or be more attractive, right? There's some features or capabilities that would be more attractive that would bring more people through the funnel.
Right. Okay. So maybe my love of likely load range is causing bias as to wanting it. And it may not be like this killer.
I think it'll be a killer feature for a small subset.
Okay.
And something distinctive, unique, right? Unique in the industry. So something we can really talk about, and that might be attractive. Again, probably not to the 90% population, but might attract, create some attention.
Okay. Then the goal is to have the other Jason do a comfort consult on Monday, or a free quote on Monday, and have a guinea pig.
Okay.
I could be the guinea pig. So it'll give him an opportunity to run through it. We'll have a video in the box about it. I think we should have a conversation, like one of these next meetings, we can have a talk about like the load range.
Okay.
And see what the guys have to say, because it probably should go out to them.
Yeah, that's true. Right.
And then the email feature. You know, he left us with everything we need, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Just looking at all it did is it pulled in the bank transactions and I turned that into a P&L report. Have not done any detail about it yet. So, we started, I don't remember where we started the year at, if we had like, and I haven't checked the Citizens Bank
9
balance.
or 10, I think.
Yeah. So losing a couple thousand, we're not in terrible shape. But, the goal is certainly to, if we want to get to, so that we can start hiring, then we have to at least get past that we're spending on
Right. And I'm actually thinking an additional 3, because if we have 3 employees, we're going to have additional costs.
yes. Yeah, just like we have, right? 13th month comes along, or an iPad comes along, or whatever, right? So
Yeah. Okay, so we're running out of runway.
yeah.
How do
Trying
we
to get that
handle
funnel
it?
working?
Yeah, how do we handle it if we don't start throttling up?
I think we've got time, as in 3 to 6 months of runway. I haven't actually calculated what the burn rate is. So that should give us enough time to throttle things up.
Okay.
Right? If not, then we got to reassess and say, all right, is it just not throttleable? What do I want to do? Probably want to stop now.
Okay, we'll be thinking about it, because like if Nate's not involved, then it ends up having to be the 2 of us that have to start writing checks if we want to keep it going. I'm happy to do whatever you want.
Right. Well, I think
you'll be the decider.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So looking at our burn rate, if we have 6 months left, and if we can't figure out how to throttle it up within 6 months, then maybe there's just not a way to throttle it up. Right. So I guess that we may actually come to a decision point. I think it's still 6 months away, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So find people, Ted.
Right. Okay. All right. I gotta go restart or turn off the pumps for my boiler now and let the dogs in. So I am the control system for my boiler right now, because Taylor hasn't come up with the right parts to fix it, or the right process to fix it. So basically it doesn't work, but I can go in and essentially manual override it and turn on the pumps, and I can go manually override it to turn on the gas, but the sensor's disconnected. So if I don't, that was the timer. It's like, if I go more than 15 minutes, then the water starts getting like,
oh, you don't want it to boil.
No, I don't want it to boil in the pipes, right? So I have to turn off the gas, but I can leave the pumps running, and then I can go off and turn on the pumps, so so I am
Or
the
you could just
control
leave the
system.
pumps running all the time.
Yeah, although I think it actually acts as you would expect it to work in the summer, which is cools things off, right? You run the water under the house where it gets down to 40 degrees, and then you're into the house. You're basically bringing the house down if you run the pumps. So
right, you're heating the crawl space.
Yeah, and exactly. I'm transferring heat to the crawl space and cooling off the house even faster than it would anyway. So
that's interesting. Yeah.
I try to remember to turn off the pump. So I'm gonna go do that, let the dogs in. And we'll connect
Yeah,
again.
and it's a big cast iron boiler.
Yeah, I guess, right. I don't remember.
So you're pulling a lot of heat out of that boiler when it's not firing. And then once that heat's out of the boiler, you want to stop that whole thing. So
yep. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever, 1,000 feet of copper pipe running under, or not 1,000 feet, whatever. There's, a couple hundred
Yeah.
feet of copper pipe running through the crawl space, cooling off.
You leaning into your heat pump?
Yeah, that part of the house is nice and warm.
Oh, okay.
It's only one zone. It's 1/4 of the house.
Yeah, right, right.
So the other thing, so I'm gonna try to get more detail on P&L maybe for next week. I actually think there's still something I started drafting. If we actually took the concept of likely load range, I think there may actually be a patent application there, which would create some value for the company.
Okay.
3 years down the road.
Well, and the idea of sort of saying for a 2,000 square foot house, typically the load range is between 1.5 and 3.5 tons.
Mhm.
And, so that's either the 90 percentile or the 95th percentile.
Yeah. Actually, that's one thing I started to do, and I didn't actually get the graphs quite working right. I had to hook it up. I'm curious if
that's a way better way of doing this.
Well,
It's a way better way of doing this.
although it's going to be an interest. What I'm worried about is, what does this data set look like, right? I don't think it's particularly representative, right? And so what does the data set actually look like will be interesting, but that's what we'll figure out.
Okay.
All right, I got to go turn off my pumps.
All right. See ya.
All right, see you,
Thanks.
Ted. Yep.
Bye.
Bye.